The Galactic Council had always prided itself on managing interspecies relations across hundreds of evolved civilizations. Their most acclaimed event, however, was the Deathworld Summit, a prestigious competition celebrating survival prowess of the galaxy's toughest species on the most inhospitable planets imaginable. Welcome back to Galactic Channel's exclusive coverage of the Deathworld Summit qualifications. The enthusiastic six-armed announcer gestured dramatically with several appendages. We're witnessing the selection of this cycle's competitors. And, wait, is this information correct? The announcer's eye stalks twitched in apparent confusion as they reviewed their datapad. According to the invitation committee, a new contender has been added to the roster. Humans. From Earth. The studio erupted in chittering laughter. For our viewers unfamiliar with this species, continued the announcer once the amusement subsided, humans are bipedal mammals from a relatively mild class 2 planet. They possess no natural armor, minimal strength capabilities, and respiratory systems highly dependent on oxygen. Their planet experiences neither significant gravitational stress nor acid precipitation. More laughter followed, this time from the panel of experts assembled for commentary. Commander Krex, the hulking reptilian head of the invitation committee, appeared visibly irritated on the broadcast. This is unprecedented. Our scouts reported unusual adaptive capabilities, but I fail to see how these soft-skinned creatures will survive even the preliminary rounds. Yet the nomination met all technical criteria. Predictions on their survival time? Prompted the announcer. 6 minutes, replied a Drakari warrior with absolute certainty. Perhaps 7 if they remain perfectly still. On Earth, the mood was decidedly different. In a sleek conference room overlooking the Pacific Ocean, for humans reviewed their official invitation to the Deathworld Summit. So, let me get this straight, said Eve Matthews, her military posture unwavering as she addressed her team. The former Special Forces commander wore her scars proudly, a testament to her survival instincts that had earned her leadership of Earth's first Deathworld team. The galaxy's most dangerous species gather on the most lethal planet imaginable to prove who's toughest, and they've invited us. As, what comic relief? Pretty much, confirmed Dr. Helena Park, thumbing through xenobiology research on her tablet. The slender scientist tugged absently at her lab coat sleeve, eyes alight with academic fascination. According to the transmissions we've intercepted, we're considered the light entertainment portion of the event. Jonas Rivera snorted as he continued assembling what appeared to be a modified 3D printer. Their mockery is our advantage. They expect nothing from us. The engineer's fingers moved with practiced precision, modifying Earth technology with components reverse-engineered from recovered alien tech. Never underestimate human ingenuity when backed into a corner. Or human taste buds, added Miko Fujimoto, carefully packaging dehydrated food supplies. The field survival specialist had spent years studying predator-prey relationships across Earth's most extreme environments. I've packed enough flavor varieties to bribe any organism with a mouth. Eve reviewed their equipment list once more. Remember, this isn't just about survival. It's about showcasing humanity's adaptability. We've thrived on a planet that's been trying to kill us since day one. Technically, Earth is considered quite hospitable by galactic standards, Helena corrected. And that's precisely why they won't see us coming. Eve replied with a confident smile. Finalize preparations. We leave in 48 hours. Across the galaxy, the Galactic Council's entertainment division was already marketing the human spectacle. Betting pools opened with the longest survival time estimates hovering around 20 minutes. Nobody placed credits on the humans lasting beyond the first day, let alone the full 72-hour competition period. As Earth's sleek spacecraft departed its orbital dock, the announcer's voice echoed across millions of viewing screens. The Deathworld Summit preparations are underway, with one unexpected addition that promises to add momentary amusement to our proceedings. The orbital station, bustling with contestants, was a cacophony of sounds, scents, and displays of intimidation. Warriors from across the galaxy showcased battle scars, retractable claws, venomous appendages, and technological enhancements that blurred the line between biology and weaponry. When a human team entered the central dome, conversations faltered momentarily before resuming with increased volume, much of it consisting of poorly concealed laughter and derision. 200 credits says they die in the first acid rain, muttered a silicon-based being to its companion. 300 says they run screaming from the first predator they encounter, countered another. Eve led her team through the throng with practiced nonchalance, though she noted every exit, every potential threat, every opportunity for advantage. The humans' atmosphere suits, sleek compared to Earth's traditional spacesuits, but bulky against the naturally armored competition, drew condescending glances. Their path was suddenly blocked by an enormous figure whose metallic exoskeleton gleamed under the artificial lights. Standing nearly 3 meters tall, with organic mechanical hybrid limbs displaying formidable weaponry, Warlord Galrath's reputation preceded him as a 5-time survivor of previous Deathworld challenges. Soft creatures, Galrath's voice reverberated through a translator, mandibles clicking with what passed for amusement in his species. You dishonor this gathering with your presence. Withdraw while your fragile bodies remain intact. Eve met the Warlord's compound eyes without flinching. We appreciate your concern, but we'll take our chances. Your species lacks even basic exoskeletal protection. Galrath continued, towering over Eve. What could possibly make you believe you belong here? Jonas stepped forward, a slight smile playing on his lips. Innovation, adaptation, and really good sunscreen. The tension dissolved into mocking laughter from the gathered crowd, but the human team moved on undeterred. As they continued toward their assigned preparation chamber, Helena whispered, "Well, that went better than expected. He didn't crush us immediately, so I'd count it as a win," Miko agreed. The preparation chamber provided their first real briefing on the competition location. Holographic displays showed the terrain of Xian 7, this cycle's chosen death world. Atmospheric composition includes fluorine compounds and suspended silicate particulates, Helena read from the data. Surface temperatures range from -40 to +70 degrees Celsius, depending on region and time of day. Gravity approximately 1.3 times Earth standard. Jonas whistled, and here I was worried it would be challenging. The official broadcast began, drawing everyone's attention to the main screen where a council elder outlined the rules. Contestants will be deployed to randomly assigned coordinates on Xian 7. Survival for 72 standard hours is the primary objective. Those who demonstrate exceptional mastery over the environment will be eligible for the grand prize, one wish granted by the Galactic Council, within reasonable boundaries of interstellar law. Eve studied the deployment map carefully. We'll aim for the elevated rock formations to the north. Higher ground means better visibility and fewer crawling threats. And hopefully less acid rain exposure, added Helena. As they boarded their assigned drop pod, betting odds against their survival had reached unprecedented levels. The livestream commentators made special note that humans were the only species requiring completely sealed environmental suits just to breathe on Xian 7. The drop was rough but controlled. Their pod hissed open to reveal a landscape that seemed designed specifically to eliminate life. Jagged crystalline formations that reflected sunlight at eye-searing intensities, bubbling pools of substances that melted their analytical probes on contact, and distant swarms of flying creatures that appeared to be little more than mouths with wings. A fine drizzle of yellowish liquid sizzled where it struck exposed rock. That would be the acid rain, Helena confirmed, checking her suit's integrity. pH approximately 1.2, with additional corrosive compounds I can't immediately identify. Delightful, Miko deadpanned, already setting up perimeter sensors. At least it's a dry acid. The team moved efficiently, having drilled their deployment procedures for months. While other contestants might rely on natural abilities or superior strength, the humans had preparation and coordination. Within an hour, they had established a defensible position among a cluster of rock formations, tested samples of the local environment, and set up basic shelter using heat-resistant polymers. First-day survival Checklist complete, Eve announced, watching as Jonas calibrated their atmospheric filters. Now we observe and adapt. Through their monitoring equipment, they witnessed the fates of less cautious competitors. A warrior species renowned for their acid-resistant hides charged through the terrain, only to discover that Xeon 7's acid rain carried parasitic microorganisms that burrowed through even their impressive defenses. They retreated, howling in pain, already disqualified as their drop ship recovered them. Another group of competitors, silicon-based entities who should have thrived in the harsh environment, miscalculated the density of what appeared to be solid ground. The crystalline desert swallowed them into superheated sand that fused with their bodies. They're all making the same mistake, Helena observed, reviewing footage. They're applying solutions from their home environments without first understanding this one. Classic colonizer mentality, Jonas quipped, working on a portable water purification system. Assume your rules apply everywhere. By nightfall, a relative term on a planet with 3 small, distant suns, the human team had documented 17 species already eliminated. Their careful approach was paying dividends while more aggressive competitors fell to Xeon 7's countless hazards. The galactic broadcast was beginning to take note. In an unexpected development, the announcer reported with genuine surprise, the human team remains not only alive, but seemingly untroubled by conditions that have already eliminated nearly 20% of our competitors. The human outpost grew more sophisticated with each passing hour. Eve coordinated the expansion of their shelter, reinforcing it against the increasingly violent acid storms, driving the smaller ones back while Eve deployed a sonic deterrent that disrupted their sensory organs. The largest predator turned to face this new threat, but retreated when Sparky and 2 other wolf creatures arrived, drawn by the commotion. The crystalline being, later identifying itself as Xener, an Arvex observer, expressed profound gratitude once they established rudimentary communication. You possess compassion. It communicated through a combination of light pulses that their translation software struggled to interpret. Unexpected in a contest of dominance. Back at Haven 1, Xener revealed troubling information. This summit is not merely a competition. The Council tests weapons, living weapons. They have revived an ancient predator for the final stage, a being our history's name only as the World Eater. The revelation cast the entire competition in a new light. While Xener recovered in their shelter, the team processed this information. If this World Eater is as dangerous as Xener suggests, Helena reasoned, the Council must have a way to control or contain it. They wouldn't risk their own observation platforms. Unless containment isn't the goal, Eve countered. What better way to test a biological weapon than against the galaxy's most formidable warriors? Jonas continued fortifying their perimeter. Either way, we're stuck here until extraction. Might as well prepare for the worst. Xener provided invaluable information about Xeon 7 geography, including the location of crystal formations rich in energy-storing capabilities, a resource that allowed Jonas to significantly upgrade their power systems. In return, Helena shared her developing research on the pollen-derived acid neutralizer. Your approach is unique, Xener commented, observing their collaborative work. Most species here seek only personal glory or survival. Humans work better together, Eve explained simply. We evolved that way. In orbit, the Council members watched with increasing discomfort as the human team not only survived but thrived, and now appear to be collaborating with an Arvex, a species known for their isolationist tendencies. This is unprecedented, one Council member hissed. Humans were added as a novelty, not serious contenders. The betting markets are in turmoil, another added. Major houses stand to lose billions if they survive the full period. Perhaps, suggested a third voice, heavy with implication, it's time to accelerate the final challenge. The third day brought a different quality of light to Xeon 7, an ominous red glow that seemed to emanate from the planet itself rather than its distant suns. The human team, now including Xener as a temporary member, noted a distinct change in the local wildlife behavior. Even Sparky's pack retreated to hidden dens, emitting low, continuous growls. "Something's coming," Miko said, checking her sensors. "And everything native to this death trap is terrified of it." The orbital announcement confirmed their fears. For the final phase of this summit, we present the ultimate survival challenge. The apex predator of Xian-7, a species thought extinct but revived through Council bioengineering. May the worthiest survive its judgment. Viewers across the galaxy watched in horrified fascination as the transport ship released its cargo, a creature that seemed to defy biological classification. Its black, chitinous body stretched nearly 30 meters in length, supported by dozens of segmented limbs. Multiple heads, each differently evolved for specialized hunting functions, scanned the terrain with predatory intelligence. Its exoskeleton gleamed with an almost metallic sheen, and where it walked, the ground itself seemed to decay. The Devourer, Xenor's lights pulsed with obvious fear. A biological impossibility. It consumes and adapts to any environment, any defense. Throughout Xian-7, the remaining competitors reacted variously. Some sought deeper hiding places, others prepared elaborate defenses. Warlord Galrath, his pride wounded from previous encounters, assembled his remaining warriors for a frontal assault. The humans watched via remote drones as Galrath's forces engaged the apex predator with everything from energy cannons to biological weapons. For a brief moment, it appeared they might succeed where others had failed, until the creature's exoskeleton began absorbing and adapting to their attacks. Within minutes, Galrath's elite force was reduced to scattered survivors fleeing in disarray. Direct confrontation is suicide, Eve concluded, gathering her team. But we might have options they don't. Their plan took shape quickly. Dr. Helena had isolated the regenerative compound from her pollen research, discovering it could be weaponized to cause rapid, uncontrolled cellular growth. Jonas modified their remaining equipment to deliver this compound precisely where needed. Miko and Xenor mapped the terrain features that might provide tactical advantages. "We lure it to the crystal basin," Eve pointed to their crude map. "The ground is unstable there, superheated liquid just below the surface. We trigger a collapse, slow it down, then deliver Helena's compound to a vulnerable point. And hope it can't adapt quickly enough," Jonas added grimly. The preparations were methodical but rushed. The apex predator was moving in an expanding spiral from its drop point, leaving nothing alive in its wake. Within hours, it would reach their position regardless of their actions. "We should call it," Miko suggested as they calibrated the final triggers. "Names have power." "Apocalypse," Jonas offered. "Overkill," countered Helena. "Doom," Eve decided, watching its approach on their sensors. Simple and accurate. When Doom reached the outer perimeter of their carefully laid trap, the humans were already positioned strategically around the crystal basin. Hundreds of millions watched the live stream, betting markets frozen as the odds calculations became impossible to compute. No one had expected humans to face the apex predator directly, let alone with what appeared to be a coordinated strategy. First phase, Eve's voice came through their comm systems. Miko and Sparky, who had refused to abandon the humans despite the danger, led a carefully calculated diversion, drawing Doom's attention with controlled explosions and movement that triggered its predatory instincts. The massive creature pivoted with surprising agility, pursuing this new prey toward the basin. "Almost there," Miko reported, her voice tense but controlled as she navigated treacherous terrain, with Doom closing the distance rapidly. When the creature reached the center of the basin, Jonas activated the subterranean charges they'd planted. The crystalline surface fractured dramatically, plunging Doom partially into the superheated liquid below. It roared in what might have been pain or anger, thrashing violently as parts of its exoskeleton began to bubble and melt. "It's adapting already," Helena warned, watching through binoculars as the creature's exposed flesh began developing heat-resistant properties before their eyes. "We have maybe 2 minutes before it's free." Eve positioned herself with their largest delivery system, a modified launcher that Helena had filled with their biological agent. I need a clear shot at the damaged section. Xener, whose crystalline body could withstand brief exposure to the basin's edge, moved to create another diversion. I will draw its attention upward. The Arvex's light display created a fascinating spectacle that captured several of Doom's sensory organs. As it looked up, Eve fired, the projectile striking precisely where the exoskeleton had been damaged, releasing Helena's compound directly into the creature's bloodstream. For a moment, nothing happened. Then Doom began to convulse as its accelerated healing factor was pushed beyond natural limits. Cells multiplied uncontrollably, creating grotesque growths that burst through its armor. Its own adaptive biology, the very thing that made it so lethal, became its undoing as the regenerative compound triggered cascading mutations. Fall back, Eve ordered as the creature's death throes threatened to collapse the entire basin. The team retreated to safe distance, watching as Doom's massive body essentially destroyed itself from within, unable to regulate the runaway biological processes. When the dust settled and the acid rain washed away the remains, verification drones confirmed what hundreds of millions of viewers across the galaxy could scarcely believe. The apex predator had been defeated, and humans, the ridiculous soft-skinned creatures from a Class II planet, were the last team standing. The 72-hour mark passed with the human team gathered at Haven 1, battered but alive. The orbital station dispatched a retrieval vessel, and the Galactic Council found themselves in the unprecedented position of acknowledging human victory. The award ceremony was a subdued affair compared to previous cycles. Council representatives spoke of unexpected outcomes and admirable tenacity, carefully avoiding any reference to the bedding collapse that had accompanied the human victory. As tradition dictated, Eve Matthews was called forward to claim the promised reward, one wish within the bounds of interstellar law. Eve stepped to the ceremonial platform, her team arrayed behind her in a show of unity that had characterized their entire approach. The council elder extended a ceremonial scepter, formally asking, "What does the victor claim as reward?" "Ownership rights to Xeon 7, Eve announced without hesitation. Gasps and murmurs rippled through the assembly. The council elder's tentacles twitched in obvious agitation. This is highly irregular. A Deathworld has never been claimed as a prize. Yet nothing in your laws prohibits it," Eve countered smoothly. "We've demonstrated mastery over the environment, your own stated criterion for victory." After hasty consultation with legal advisors, the council reluctantly conceded the point. "The claim is technically valid, but what possible use could your species have for such a hostile world?" Dr. Helena Park stepped forward. "The regenerative compound I discovered has implications far beyond weaponry. Properly developed, it could revolutionize medical treatment across multiple species." Jonas added, "The crystal formations contain energy storage potential far exceeding current galactic standards. And the ecological diversity," Miko continued, "represents adaptation mechanisms worth studying." Eve concluded their presentation with what would later be recognized as one of humanity's boldest diplomatic gambits. "We propose establishing Xeon 7 as a multi-species research facility and controlled adventure tourism destination. The Council will receive 15% of all derived technologies and medical applications." Tourism? On a death world? The concept seemed to physically pain the Council elder. Beings across the galaxy pay premium rates for controlled risk experiences, Eve explained. With proper safety protocols, Xeon 7 offers thrills unavailable anywhere else. The agreement was formalized within the day, humanity's first interstellar property claim recognized by galactic law. When news reached Earth, celebrations erupted globally, not merely for the team's survival, but for the strategic foresight that had turned a dangerous competition into a diplomatic and economic coup. 1 year later, Xeon 7 was transforming. Reinforced habitation domes dotted the previously uninhabitable landscape. Research facilities clustered near the richest crystal deposits and most biologically diverse regions. Most surprisingly successful was Extreme Excursions, Miko's venture offering guided survival experiences to wealthy thrill seekers from across the galaxy. Eve stood on the observation deck of the main administrative complex, watching a group of tourists in specially designed protective gear marvel at a controlled acid rainfall. Dr. Helena Park's medical research had already yielded 3 breakthrough treatments, and Jonas had revolutionized portable power generation with his crystal energy cells. Zener, who had chosen to remain as a cultural liaison, joined Eve at the viewport. The Council still does not understand how you succeeded where warriors failed. Eve smiled, sipping from a cup of coffee, one of Earth's exports now gaining popularity in certain galactic circles. They thought physical strength determined survival. We knew better. And the next Deathworld summit, we've submitted an application to host it, Eve replied, with modified rules emphasizing innovation over brute force. Below them, Miko led a tour group past a securely contained habitat where several of Sparky's offspring, now officially registered as Zeon crystal wolves, were being trained as guide animals. Nearby, a former warrior from Galrath's species worked alongside human researchers, studying predator deterrent systems. In the distance, acid storms rolled across the crystalline deserts, just as deadly as when they had first arrived. But what had once been a killing field was now a laboratory, a classroom, and occasionally a playground. Eve watched a shuttle arriving with new researchers, new tourists, new opportunities. They invited humans to the Deathworld summit, she mused. Big mistake. But perhaps, she reflected as Zener's lights pulsed in what she now recognized as amusement, it had been the best mistake the galaxy ever made.